सही कह रहे, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ डन कर लेते हैं।
बढ़िया कर रहे हैं यार।
पार्टी करेंगे, पार्टी 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 पार्टी।
हेलो बेटा, तुम लोग यहाँ शिफ्ट हो रहे हो?
मोस्टली आंटी।
सही है। मेरे हस्बैंड है ना, तो इनके कुछ दवाइयाँ चाहिए, वो आप ले आओ। प्रेस्क्रिप्शन। हाँ। कितनी अच्छी बात है, तुम जैसे यंगस्टर्स इस बिल्डिंग में आ रहे हैं। पैसे तो लो। अच्छा, मैं क्या कह रही थी, जब आप मार्केट जा ही रहे हो तो मुरारी की दुकान से एक डबल रोटी और थोड़े अमरूद ले आना, बहुत अमरूद खाते हैं।
अच्छा अमरूद।
अच्छा सुनो, बच्चे जा रहे हैं, तुम्हें कुछ चाहिए? यही लेके आना बेटा।
आंटी जी एक मिनट। पार्टी नहीं, ड्यूटी लगेगी। Housing.com।
Housing.com with maximum owner properties. Housing.com पर से perfect. Download now.
आते हैं आंटी लेके, हाँ सामान आपका। दूध ले आते हैं हम, ठीक है? चलिए फुटले।
Hello everyone. Wish you all a very happy 2023. If the year gone by was about recovery, 2023 could well be about takeoff and pace. There are visible green shoots that are sprouting across the business and economy landscape. This is particularly true of the real estate sector. The rough and tumble of the last 2 years seem to be behind us, if trends are to go by. In this episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com, the first of 2023, we take a deep dive of property buying trends of last year and crystal gaze in the next 12 months. Signs indeed are bullish, prospects seem bright, and there cannot be a better way to kickstart the new year than listening in to some sunny projections about homes and properties. Stay tuned. Residential real estate sales in India have breached 2021 levels by far, witnessing a 50% year-on-year growth. New launches further strengthened during 2022 and registered a growth of 101% year-on-year with a total of 431,510 new homes launched during the calendar year 2022, said the latest report by PropTiger.com, the country's leading online real estate brokerage company. According to the report titled Real Insight Residential Annual Roundup 2022, January to December, a total of 3,08,940 units were sold in 2022 as compared to 2,05,940 units sold in 2021. The figures include the sales numbers for all 4 quarters in both calendar years for the top 8 cities including Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Delhi NCR, Gurugram, Noida, Greater Noida, Ghaziabad and Faridabad, Mumbai Metropolitan Region, Mumbai, Navi Mumbai and Thane, and Pune. A total of 431,510 units were launched in 2022, registering a sharp growth of 101% year-on-year as against 2021. New launches witnessed a multi-year high, registering a 6% increase as compared to 2015 levels. Mumbai has been the front-runner in terms of new supply in 2022, taking a share of 39% in the overall launches, followed by Pune and Hyderabad, which took a share of 18% and 19% respectively. The improvement in key growth metrics for the sector, the second largest employment generator in India after agriculture, could largely be attributed to improved consumer sentiment on the back of renewed importance of home ownership during the pandemic and sustained economy recovery post-pandemic. The aftermath of such structural changes reinforced the importance of home ownership in the overall scheme of things. Research by PropTiger.com showed that Indian residential realty maintained its upward course since the beginning of 2022, even amidst global uncertainties. The new supply is at par with the pre-RERA levels of 2015 for the third consecutive quarter. We spoke to Vikas Wadhwan, Group CFO, and Ankita Sood, Head of Research at PropTiger.com, Housing.com, and Makan.com to break down the trends for us. Let's listen in. Hi Ankita. I want to ask you that what is the overall trajectory of demand and supply witnessed during January to December 2022 look like for us?
Our data and insights suggest that we were back from the post-pandemic lull that we had witnessed. Of course, there was a lot of loss to life and business, etc. So the tide now has turned in favor of residential realty. Both demand and supply have growth both sequentially and on a yearly basis, suggesting that the confidence is back in the market. Now, it is worth noting that new supply to date is at par with the heydays that we saw in 2015. So, yes, the period has been very encouraging from both the demand and the supply side.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And I think, last time also you had shared with us that how things are actually growing and back on track post the pandemic. Because what are your thoughts on the same? Would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, sure, Sanskriti. And I absolutely agree with what Ankita mentioned. Ankita has already shared a lot of data points. I won't repeat that. I'll share my thoughts largely on what's driving this demand and how we are observing it on our platforms and our demand sentiment from the consumer side. So if you look back, I think there are two, three things which is driving this demand. One is there was a pent-up demand because of COVID and because of a down cycle in real estate for the last 4 5 years. So people were holding back their buying decisions. And now, with the onset of COVID, when people were locked into their homes, I think the sentiment of owning a home has spiked a lot in the last 2 3 years, and that's one which is driving a lot of demand. Second, a lot of people who were already owning a home have also kind of are either upgrading their home, moving into a bigger house, moving into independent units. That's another trend which we've been observing because they need more spacious abode, right? Because they need a place to work, they need a place for where their kids can do their classes, and they need a place where their parents, while logged into the home, have enough and ample space at home. That's what is driving the demand. Another important aspect, if you may notice that there was a report published by HDFC, the largest lender in India, that affordability at the beginning of 2022, affordability index was at its low, right? Means that people can afford buying a home uh, uh, much better than compared to the previous times, right? Because their incomes have gone up, the prices of the properties have not increased in the last 4 5 years, and that is why the affordability has increased significantly. So these are the few things which were driving demand in the real estate sector.
Yeah, completely. And because how do you think the lack of market stimuli, such as stamp duty waivers, will affect home buying sentiments now?
It may have some impact, but I don't think these are the primary drivers of anyone making a real estate transaction. See, we all need to understand, irrespective of the category of buyer you are, either as an end user, first home buyer, or an investor, this is still one of the largest financial commitment one makes in their lifetime, right? So these are
Completely.
small stimuli which helps you make those decisions, but in the absence of these stimuli, it doesn't mean that that your demand goes away from the market, right? I think what is needed for the demand to further accelerate in India, and the enhancement of overall contribution of real estate sector overall in the GDP, uh, a lot more transparency is needed in the sector, and the transaction of real estate needs to be simplified a lot, right? Because if you look at, I compare it very often with buying securities. When you buy security, you can actually click on a button on any trading platform, and you can own a piece of equity in a company, right? And I'm not saying by that that at any given point in time, real estate can be transacted digitally on the platform, but I'm drawing a parallel in terms of the confidence. When you buy equity on any platform, you have a confidence that what you're buying, you're going to get it. It is a very, very simple transaction. Ownership is not complicated. But in real estate, if you draw a parallel, title is a very complicated thing. Transferring of real estate from one individual to another individual is also very, very complicated. And the transparency is somewhat missing, right? I think if we can solve that problem, this will accelerate the buying and selling of real estate manifold in our country, because there is a massive shortage of homes, and there is a need of upgradation of our existing city into the modern style housing, and that will accelerate the overall buying and selling, and the overall contribution in the GDP will increase significantly.
Ankita, what are your thoughts on the same?
Yes, I wanted to take on from where Vikas left. Transparency definitely required. And real estate, residential real estate per se, is a very sentiment-driven sector. Now, however, these stamp duty waivers do have financial implications, but they cannot actually transcend into that demand, and will pick or drop because of this. They are sentiment enhancers, but I'd still say if you have to make that lifelong purchase, you will still go ahead. But things that are required, transparency post RERA, definitely it has straight jacketed the market. A lot of consolidation has taken place, but much more is required, as Vikas rightly put.
Yeah, completely, Ankita.
So
Also, Vikas,
Sanskriti, if I may just step in and
Sorry.
clarify what do I mean by
Yeah.
transparency, because I want to put it on record. On the new home side, I think RERA has helped transparency. Digital platform like ours is also adding to a lot of transparency in the market. When we say it further needs to be enhanced, I'm referring to two important areas which need a lot of attention, not only from the government, but also from all the stakeholders in the market. One is maybe the digital records of title, right? A lot of governments are doing it, state governments are doing it, but I think something like Aadhaar kind of a stack or UPI kind of a stack needs to be created in India by the central government, or which can be utilized by the state governments for digital record keeping of titles in India. That will significantly improve transparency. Second is while the government has taken a welcome step in terms of introducing RERA on the new home side, but I think similar regulations are needed on the renting and resale side as well, because currently the stakeholders are not accountable to each other in the real estate sector, and hence anything which goes wrong in real estate transaction goes into a long-winded litigation which no one wants, right? So I think a lot of regulations are needed where all the stakeholders in real estate transaction, whether it is a resale transaction or a rental transaction, should be held accountable for what they are committing, what they are saying, and how they are facilitating the transaction, which will further enhance the confidence and transparency of the buyers and sellers in the market. That's what I mean by that.
Makes complete sense. Also, Vikas, has the new supply reached pre-RERA levels of 2015? And do you see this trend sustaining for the next few quarters?
The new supply has already reached the levels of 2015-16, if I remember it correctly, and Ankita can confirm those numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it has reached to 2015 number. Forget about pre-pandemic. It's pre-RERA, which was 2013, 14, 15 were days when a lot of launches were happening. Days of real estate. A lot of launches were happening. But I'm happy with the shift between 2015 and 22, because we all know that when in 2014-15 a lot of launches were happening, but the accountability were missing of on-time delivery, of delivery of what you're selling, and so on and so forth. That has improved significantly. And
Yeah,
now with the data, the consumer has a confidence that what developer is selling will be delivered in time and will be delivered what they're selling. So that's
yeah,
important.
yeah. Ankita, your thoughts on the same or any closing remarks?
Of course, like Vikas has mentioned, and not only pre-pandemic, we've gone back to the 2015 levels, with, of course,
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of consolidation and checks and balances in place. Because 15 ke baad, you had 16, 17 RERA kicked in. So the
Yeah.
same momentum definitely will sustain. But one important thing that's happened post 15, and uh, we should celebrate that thing, is that, let's say, that time things were not rampant, licenses were given, but now it's more of even the supply side is more cognizant of the demand. So the supply side is very much assessing where the demand is coming, what the home buyer is looking at, home buyer or
Hmm.
investor. So that those finer points have kicked in. And so this particular supply that's coming, it's not like coming in the far-flung areas where nobody would go. So the supply side
Yeah.
is very cognizant of where the demand lies, be it in price bracket, in locations. So yes, that's something to celebrate, and that this will sustain. So yeah.
Our projects now offering both habitability and affordability emerging as the most preferred among home buyers.
Yeah, Sanskriti, so of course, for a home buyer, affordability is paramount. But obviously, something that's kicked in post the pandemic is, like we spoke previously, also habitability. I mean, will I be able to stay there? Since most of the time, because of the hybrid work culture, many organizations have kicked in, you are spending so much time at home, right? So yes, first the focus was on affordability, but now habitability also has become of paramount importance. For instance, our consumer sentiment survey that we run biannually, now that also has suggested that things like healthcare facilities, the nearness to health infrastructure, open and recreational services, are now amongst the top ranked considerations that buyers are looking for while
Mm-hmm.
they're shortlisting a property. So when they're coming on our platform or, during our interactions, these are the nuances which they are very much interested in. That how much open space in the project, how much balcony area in the project, open spaces and greenery. All of these factors definitely have become very important. Now, in line with this, the developers also on the supply side have started augmenting and proposing project features, focusing on health and wellness, along with that extra study room, office space to accommodate the changing preferences of the home buyers. Now, for instance, I'll give you some examples. Very notable developers are adding features such as wellness areas, creches,
Yeah.
water bodies, I mean, it's not, so they
Yeah.
are pitching the projects that this project has a water body, state-of-the-art clubhouses. Now, those things are back again. And of course, home buyers are looking
Mm-hmm.
at these things, and they are definitely acting as pull factors for prospective buyers, both the end user and the investor.
Yeah, completely. And lastly, your closing remarks. What is your hope for 2023?
Very hopeful on 2023. Vikas, set the stage what we think, towards the market across the consumption basket, things are looking up. Of course, the macroeconomic geopolitical factors do influence, but India is a consumption story, and real estate is the largest, contributor towards your income when you're spending, making that big life purchase. So our outlook definitely is positive, not only for the metros, but real estate demand is likely to go up in the tier 2 cities as well. A lot of it owing to the intra-city churn of out migrations within the city as well. So a lot of those
Yeah, yeah,
trends are going to be witnessed in the coming quarters. Yes.
yeah. And Vikas, any closing remarks from your end?
No, I think towards the end, I just wanted to reflect back and definitely 2022 was a very refreshing year for real estate sector because the sector was going through a lot of ups and downs in the last 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
But finally, 2022 gave all of us a sigh of relief where the sector started growing and started growing holistically because it's not a recovery only in residential sector or in commercial office space, but it's all across, whether you talk about warehousing, whether you talk about retail sector, office, commercial, residential, co-live, which was completely decimated because
Yeah.
of COVID. It's again started coming back. And I think outlook, if I look forward, I think I'm very confident that the future of real estate, at least for the foreseeable future in the midterm, is very, very bright because a positive cycle has kicked in, and we will going to see this momentum to continue and grow going forward in the coming quarters, barring with the caution of what's been happening across the globe right now, a geopolitical reason, Western world looking at recession,
Yeah. Yeah.
inflation is at an all-time high. It may
Yeah.
have a short-term 1 or 2 quarter sentiment impact, but I'm I'm optimistic about the midterm outlook of real estate for the next few quarters.
So thank you, Ankita and Vikas. And here's wishing all the listeners of housing, all the users of housing, also a very happy new year.
Thanks, Sanskriti. And on behalf of housing, I wish everybody a very happy and warm new year. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanskriti, for hosting us, and thanks, Ankita. It was wonderful catching up with you. I would like to wish all the listeners a very happy 2023, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of brighter sides of real estate in the year to come. Thank you.
That's it from us for this episode. We shall be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insights on the real estate industry. Take care and stay safe.